Well, hey everybody. This will be the first of a couple devos that you'll listen to this week. I just want to kind of take the time to say, hey, let's get prepared for camp. Let's kind of dive into the story of Moses, because that's where we're going to be camping out for the week of camp. So let's get prepared, and maybe you'll have a little background of information that you'll be able to help explain to the kids when they have questions regarding the messages. But let's jump into the story of Moses, because most of us probably know the story of Moses. The population of the Hebrews was starting to pose a threat to the Egyptians. And they first they were enslaved. There was a decree to kill all infant male Hebrews. So Moses' mom wants to give her baby a chance of surviving, and she puts him in a basket and floats him down the river. Well, Moses is found by the princess of Egypt, and she has somebody raise the baby for her. It actually happens to be Moses' mom actually gets to raise him. So Moses is raised in the house of the Pharaoh by his Hebrew mom. And eventually Moses is told that he is a Hebrew. He is watching the Hebrew people. His people work one day, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. So he goes and kills the Egyptian. Well, word spreads, and eventually Moses is on the run. Moses, the murderer, finds himself running from the Egyptians, and we'll pick up the story again there, where Moses was not with his people, and he's tending some sheep far from the life of royalty that he was used to living in Egypt. And it is here God speaks to him through the burning bush in Exodus chapter 3, verses 5 through 6, and here's what that says. "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Now, this is a situation where we get to see God's holiness really pronounced. And he tells Moses to stay away because, well, God's perfection can be overwhelming. So overwhelming that it could kill us because we are not perfect because of our sin. See, holiness is this idea of being set apart. And it is clear in this story that Moses recognizes this idea because we see his humility in the act of Moses hiding his face from God, which is clearly recognizing his imperfection and recognizing the power of God's holiness. Here is where we get to see more of the story unfold in verses 9 and 10. "And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me." This is God speaking. "And I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." So now we see the set-apartness of God and him trying to connect to his chosen people, because this is the beginning of one of the greatest promises that we get to see from God. We see his holiness thrive through this promise. We see that because part of his set-apartness or his holiness is his ability to keep his promises. And we'll be seeing some of those promises play out over the course of this kind of devotional series and what we'll listen to at camp. And this will start with Moses being sent back to the very place he was running from, Egypt. But this time, he has God on his side.